respond to Rosalia Romero's claim that industrial hemp is a more sustainable alternative to petroleum. Her secondary claims were that industrial hemp is a multi-purpose resource. Second, that petroleum and its products are harmful to the environment. And third, that industrial hemp is better for the environment. I will repeat that although industrial hemp is a more sustainable alternative to petroleum, it is not close to being commercialized. I will refute this through first, compared to other well-established crops with many of the same potentials, including industrial uses. Second, industrial hemp has harvesting, producing, and transport technology barriers. And third, that not enough information on the long-term effects that hemp will. There's not enough information on the long-term effects that hemp will have on the environment. Okay. So my first claim is, or my first secondary claim is, potential well-established crops competitors are cheaper and quicker to produce, like cotton, corn, and soybeans, which could produce similar products such as textiles, plastic, cosmetics, and fuel, like Romero pointed out in his speech. In a 1992 report by Gene Rawson, he notes that many of the alternative crops closest to commercializing have similar uses and purposes as hemp. And it's most likely that hemp will find difficult, fierce competitors from other well-established crops, and that make similar potential uses. Second, the industrial hemp has harvesting, producing, and transport technology barriers. Romero found that Americans use 1,500 bottles of plastic bottles every second, and that's just one product. That's true, but there isn't another product that is like the alternative of recycling plastic bottles. Before hemp can become a major U.S. crop, offering profit opportunities to most U.S. producers, significant cost savings, innovations need to occur. Third, not enough information on long-term effects on hemp and on the environment caused by hemp are found due to it being fairly new and not produced as much or as often. Romero pointed that hemp leaves a weed-free field for the following crop. In a survey done by the University of Wisconsin, it is found that when you're growing hemp for fiber, it is competitive against weeds and doesn't require any herbicides. But when you're growing it for seeds or dual seeds and fiber crops, the crop does not form significant dense canopy to repress the weed growth, and herbicides will most likely be needed. Recent studies confirm that hemp relevantly is low. It has a low impact on the environment. This is a strong argument for the favor of hemp's commercialization. And however, the degree and such characteristics make hemp a desirable industrial crop, but it depends on the overall cost, both environmental and otherwise. In a report by the University of Arkansas, it states that if hemp were to be intensively cultivated, increased evidence of pesticide problems will be anticipated, which will compromise the long-term impacts of the environmental benefits. So although industrial hemp is a more sustainable alternative to petroleum, it isn't close to commercialization like other competitors. Thank you.
All right, I want to start a little bit backwards. I want to go to that last point where you were arguing about the environmental benefit. You, in essence, suggest if hemp worked just the way it's supposedly described, it would have a lesser environmental negative consequence. But you presented evidence at the beginning of this point that suggests that that's only if you're using it for the purpose of getting the fiber. If you're using it for the purpose of the seeds, then you're likely to have weeds that you would have to deal with. There would be a need for herbicides that are problematic. And then you've got the quote that says at the end that the pesticides would probably kind of offset whatever other environmental benefits there are. That's a good argument. It just need, you just need to be a little bit clearer on that argument. It doesn't sound like you kind of understood what the argument was when you're presenting it, and that's one of those things that affects your credibility. You ought to be able to explain, if you're just growing weeds, it's not a problem because, you just use the fibers. But to get all these particular products, you have to be growing it for seeds, and the seed growing requires that you do all of this other kind of stuff that is bad for the environment, and it offsets the advantage. That's in essence your argument there, and it can be stated a lot more simply. You're kind of trying to let the evidence make the argument for you instead of you're telling us what the claim is, and I think that's a little bit problematic. I thought that you started off pretty well labeling the secondary claims of the advocate, but then you mostly just ignore those claims and present your own counterclaims, so there's not really much, you don't really come to grip much with the evidence and the reasoning that the advocate presented on those points. You're really developing your own arguments on these points. On the first point, I thought that you had a nice piece of testimony. It's a little old. It's almost 25 years old here, but it does talk about what some of the economic issues are that are competing with this sort of thing. And I thought that that was a reasonable approach to take there. It is a good quote, even though it is a little bit old. The idea that there are barriers, one of the things that you want to be emphasizing is that they are trying to suggest that they're going to break into a marketplace here that where you've already got established products here that people have relied on. It's going to take an awful lot to get people to want to drink out of plastic bottles that are made of hemp oil that's, I don't know, they're brown bottles or whatever. I don't know what it is, that kind of thing. But there's got to be some marketing structure that goes on there because people are used to doing this other thing so much at this particular point. What's the likelihood that you'll ever break through that kind of barrier that people have? I think there's a good counter argument to be made there, and that needs to be developed a little bit more. So you've got the right idea there. I just think you need a little bit more proof on that. All right, I'm going to kind of keep it short here tonight because we got a lot of people to hear from. Thank you.